Okay, sorry. Okay, so good morning. I'm Rolf Träger. I'm the chief of the LDC section in UNCTAD. So I'd like to wish you a warm welcome to this session of the WTO Forum 2021, titled Structural Transformation in the Time of COVID-19. This session is organized jointly by the Permanent Mission of Bangladesh to the WTO and to other international organizations in Geneva, by UNIDO, and by UNCTAD. And if I can say a couple of introductory words concerning the motivation that led us to organize this session. Well, of course, as the theme and the title of the session says, the motivation that has led us to try to have some original and new thinking concerns the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic in terms of structural transformation, particularly of the least developed countries. So the question is whether the shock represented by the pandemic has led to some sort of creative destruction, to some type of repurposing of companies, of activities, etc., as a response to the shock. And as the Least Developed Countries Report of UNCTAD 2021, which has just been launched, what we have seen is that in many LDCs, certainly Asian LDCs, but also some African LDCs, what you had seen in the years prior to the pandemic, there had been some form of incipient structural transformation, some form of industrialization. And the question is, how will this survive the shock of COVID-19? Because as we know, it has brought growth to a standstill in the case of LDCs, a countless number of closures and failures of companies, including SMEs, etc. So the question is, to what extent will this shock reverse this incipient form of structural transformation of industrialization, which had been going on in the LDCs prior to the pandemic? Or on the contrary, to what extent does the shock caused by the pandemic, particularly its economic impacts in terms of falling demand, etc., to what extent has it required this creative destruction or these repurposing of economic activities of different companies in order to survive? And looking forward, to what extent can we expect this to continue in the coming years? And I will now introduce our first speaker. It's Mr. Ato Tewolde Gebremariam, who is the Group Chief Executive Officer of Ethiopian Airlines. He began his career at Ethiopian in 1985 and has held several senior leadership positions in different divisions of the airline. And in his position, he has been awarded the title of African CEO of the Year, Best African Business Leader, the Airline Strategy Award for Regional Leadership, and the Most Gender-Focused CEO Award. So he has an extensive experience, and I would like to ask him to tell us how Ethiopian whether the COVID crisis in terms of changing the focus of its activities, for instance, from passenger transport to cargo transport, and what have been the strategies in terms of new services offering, which the company has adopted. So, Mr. Ato Tewolde Gebremariam, I give you the floor. Mr. Gebremariam, do you hear us?
Mr. Mariam is not connected yet.
Ah, okay. So since he is not connected yet, we will go to our next speaker, who is Mr. Tapan Chowdhury. So Mr. Tapan Chowdhury is the managing director of Square Pharmaceutical, which is one of Bangladesh's leading pharmaceutical companies. And he has been the managing director of Square Pharmaceuticals in Bangladesh since 1995. And he graduated from the University of Dhaka, and he has 35 years of experience in the pharmaceutical industry. So as we all know, Bangladesh has been one of the very few LDCs which has been able to develop a pharmaceutical industry, partly taking advantage of the flexibilities of the TRIPS agreement as a least developed countries. So I would like to ask Mr. Tapan Chowdhury how the outbreak of the pandemic has affected the business of Square Pharmaceutical in its different dimensions. For instance, has there been a boost in demand for certain products? Has it suffered from the disruption in certain supply chains or from social distancing? So, Mr. Tapan Chowdhury, you have the floor.
Good morning and good afternoon to everyone. It's been a pleasure talking to all of you. Let me go back a little bit that we, as a least developed country, Bangladesh has taken the advantage of introducing a number of products in Bangladesh. And after, in 1982, Bangladesh followed the WHO essential list of products and thereby, introduced a very strict price control in the market, which means that for a certain number of products, the essential drugs, only the price would be fixed by the government, thereby make this product available to the people of all walks of life. But after the COVID situation in Bangladesh, things changed. And let me give you a little bit of the statistics that as of mid this month, the positive cases, COVID cases are 1.53 million, and the death cases 26,880. So considering the total population is 163 million people that we have, and the population density, you must be knowing that Bangladesh is one of the densely populated countries in the world, which is 1,265 people in each square kilometer of Bangladesh. The rate of infection is less than 1%. The government early initiative, like mass vaccination program, which is the EPI extended program of immunization among the children, and improving access of safe drinking water and sanitation program. It has helped a lot for the mass people to fight against this deadly virus in the most densely populated country of the world. And thank God that Bangladesh is also near to self-sufficiency in manufacturing of the pharmaceuticals. And today, about 98% of the drugs, other than the very few drugs, are all manufactured in Bangladesh. And even the dependent products, as you know, that is the country, but allowed to manufacture patented products only. So the pharmaceutical companies of this country is supporting the common people, and in parallel, the government initiative also, ensuring uninterrupted is the access to the required medicine at no additional cost. And Bangladesh might be the only country during this pandemic where the price of the medicine didn't increase, rather for some essential products like for the COVID drugs, considering the accessibility of current people, the price also came down a little bit because of the government intervention. Now, the quickest time after the outbreak of pandemic, Bangladesh has increased the production of the COVID treatment and especially the COVID-related drugs like remdesivir, favipiravir, ivermectin, doxycycline, azithromycin, dexamethasone, and enoxaparin, to name a few. And many of you must be knowing that Bangladesh doesn't need to follow the patent protection because of this, being the LDC countries. So, Bangladesh probably the only country in the world that could make this remdesivir available, this on-patent drug, and in generic version in Bangladesh. And also we're able to export this product also to many of the LDC countries around the world at a very competitive price. And almost Square supplied this remdesivir product to at least 47 different countries in the world. So this was a great support for the people of this, not only for people of Bangladesh, but for many countries in the world also. And the other challenge was, that we overcome by adopting the different pandemic changes in business processes. Because in Bangladesh, normally the manufacturers usually, it is concentrated on high moving products for the treatment of stomach problem, diabetes, heart disease, this sort of product. But the outbreak of this pandemic has changed our manufacturing plan completely. And we experienced an unprecedented demand of during the same time of products like the antibiotic, antiviral, respiratory drugs. There was a tremendous demand all on a sudden for these products. And so we had to adjust ourselves from the material procurement and also the distribution of these products. And so thanks to this intelligent inventory control system, and by using this SAP, we were able to support the production. And despite the shutdown of the international transportation system during this time, even the lockdown of the local ports. So naturally, our regular works hampered also. But during the lockdown situation also, pushed our marketing team to identify the new alternative communication channels with the doctors. And because physical visit by the medical reps to the doctor, this was not possible. And it was also not possible to go to different hospitals to visit doctors' chambers, the regular promotional work. And from the company also, we didn't allow our team members to visit the chemist shop for collection of the purchase orders. Anyway, but even then, and so because of this situation, we had to find out the alternative digital sales and the marketing methods, and especially, to fill up these unavoidable gaps. So we use this digital platform for promotion, and then we also introduce very quickly our sales apps for using by the retailers and also by the wholesalers to order medicines, so that it can be delivered immediately and directly from the company rather than going through any distributor. But payment was also a very big challenge. But at the same time, that's what I said that we started, and we in fact encouraged our, because normally here the transaction are for with the small, the chemist is the cash. So we introduced this online payments and also the payment through wallet transfer or mobile money transfer. And most of the meetings that we used to perform, especially with our field colleagues and with the doctors, then we started using this online platform like Zoom. And then, you know, we realized that what previously we used to use the physical meetings and all, and by using this new online platform, not only we save huge time, but also a huge amount of money also. And now we have been conducting all our meetings with the doctors, with our field colleagues within the country, even outside the country also, like this afternoon, you know, the meetings with all over the world. So this has been a big change in the organization. And this pandemic, of course, has shown down us that how the business operation can be run remotely, and also how not always that we meet physically, that is also always required for running the business. So without this also, that business can be run successfully. And we're very happy to say that we've been able to overcome this situation, and there was no shortage of medicine in Bangladesh. So all in all, I would say that it's been a real experience for a country like Bangladesh, you know, that how we tackle this situation. But for us now, it's the biggest challenge is that Bangladesh is going to go for the graduation, you know, from the LDCs, you know, to the middle income countries. And so now we got to prove that that how this could be done, you know, and you know, some of the facilities that as the LDC countries we are enjoying, things will change also. But I would say that we have learned a lot, and we have had also tremendous support from the government, and that's why at least the pharmaceutical industry in Bangladesh has played a major role in addressing this COVID situation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chowdhury, for sharing with us this experience of the capacity of the Bangladeshi pharmaceutical industry to adapt to this huge shock, both in terms of product mix, in terms of business model, in terms of marketing channels, in terms of payment methods, etc., and how it has been able to learn very quickly and to adapt very quickly. And it's exactly on this issue that I'd like to turn to our next speaker, who is Mrs. Ariel Ndiaye. Mrs. Ariel Ndiaye is the acting regional director at the Indian Ocean Office of the Francophone University Agency, where she leads the AUF technical cooperation projects in areas related to higher education and research, employability, digital entrepreneurship, capacity building, and policy formulation. And so I'd like to ask her, what are the main factors that shape the ability of firms to proactively adapt to the pandemic, and which are the main challenges they face? We have heard about the experience of one particular sector in Bangladesh, so I'd like to hear from Ms. Ndiaye what is her experience in the country where she's active in, Madagascar, and perhaps more broadly in the region, the Indian Ocean. So, Ms. Ndiaye, please, you have the floor.